X large instance. So what we are using here is the MRPs to X with this SRD support, whatever I just indicated earlier. And we are comparing with OpenMPI, which is currently being available on the AWS environment. The version is OpenMPI 403 with LibFabric 1.9. So here we are trying to show the small message latency and large message latency. We are comparing with the basic MRPs to X UD because that is also supported, but the new design is this SRD. So as you can see, for the large messages, this SRD design wins over with the basic UD design, and it also performs better than OpenMPI. And with respect to message rate, it also tries to perform higher than the UD and the SRD because there is the software reliability overhead is low. Okay? And so we are able to demonstrate that the SRD protocol is able to give us very good performance at a point to point. So then we went and tried to do evaluations on collectives. So these are again very latest numbers. Some of these were even taken late night. We got access to a larger 32 node instances of AWS. So here, if you see, we are trying to show some numbers already use Bcast and Gather. These are latency. The y-axis, if you see it, is in the log scale. So even though the gap is small here, this is a huge gap in terms of the absolute numbers. So here, if you see for all reduce, so this is on the 32 nodes, 36 ppn each. So we are able to deliver around 25x better performance for all reduce, around 5x better performance for Bcast, and around 100x better performance for Gather. So this is at this point, we are still evaluating. We may need to do some further tuning based on the latest versions, and we should be able to even improve the performance a little bit better. So then we try to run some applications. So here I'm trying to show two applications here. We have run Minighost. So again, this is the execution time is in the y-axis, so the lower is better. So here this is trying to show the number of processes, nodes times the ppn. So we are able to go up to 288 processes. So here we see around, even with the 8 nodes, we are able to get around 10% performance improvement compared to the OpenMPI version. And on the right-hand side, this is the Cloverleaf. So here again, these are 4 nodes, 8 nodes, and 16 nodes. So for 16 nodes with 36 ppn, we are able to get like a 14.7% better performance. So these are with respect to the AWS. And in fact, as I indicated earlier, there is a release already out there. If you download, if you go to the MRPs to download page, you should be able to directly download it. And if you have an AWS account, you should be able to build and run it. But we are trying to integrate this to the internal AWS version. I'll be talking that a little bit in our future plans. So with that kind of a solutions with AWS, now let's move to the Microsoft Azure. And Azure actually has been using RDMA-enabled network and software stacks for the last several years. So they had their internal stacks, but gradually in the last 2 years, they have moved to the native InfiniBand support with Mellanox OFED. So it is no different than what you deploy, let's say, in your lab or on a very large scale systems. So they have these different instances for high performance for HPC. So these are known as HB, HC, HB2. I'll mention about this a little bit later. And it actually uses the SR-IOV. So this is the single root IO virtualization. That has been the main building blocks to support virtualization in the cloud environment. In the many years back, Ethernet only had that support, but then InfiniBand also provided that support. So that support has been basically being used in the Azure HPC environment. So what we have done, we have worked together with Azure team, and we have taken the MRPs to libraries, and they have been optimized and tuned for Azure HB, HCA, and HB2 instances. Now, I also want to indicate that Azure actually uses 1 VM per node. That is the kind of the configuration they are using. But at the same time, also, there are some cores are reserved for their internal activities. So we have done a lot of research when also that is the MRPs to Vert package I indicated earlier. That actually supports even multiple VMs per node. to give you the best performance. But here, since they are using 1 VM per node, our direct MFP2 designs can directly work with some changes. And that's what we have done here. So let me try to show some performance evaluation in the next few slides. I'll start with the HB and HC VM types. So this is the HC, is basically the Intel line, and HB is the AMD line. And so here, I'll try to show some numbers. We have support both for the MFP2 as well as MFP2X, which is our advanced version. And that MFP2X also has XP-MEM support. If some of you are familiar, like these days, as the number of cores per node are increasing, there is a big need to have very fast intra-node communication. And if you go through a basic shared memory support, you have 2 copies, whereas kernel-based supports like XP-MEM allows you to do like a 1 copy, and then you get good performance out of that. So in this case, I'll be trying to show some numbers with our MFP2 version, also comparing that with the HPCX, which is deployed on the Azure. So this is the version when we had taken these numbers, and it was OSU Micro Benchmarks 562. So let's take a look at this number. So these are the internode. So here, if you see like a latency and then the bandwidth, at a small message, we are losing a little bit with HPCX, but we are trying to optimize it further. Otherwise, it looks very closer. For large messages, we win a little bit here. And bandwidth-wise, again, like for a small message around here, we have a little bit higher performance, also around 8K kind of things, and also around 2 megabytes. So point to point, this is like the EDR network, so we are able to get very similar performance. But when you go into the collectives, so this is where the benefits of those XP-MEM designs and come up. So here we are trying to show 8-node collectives, and the environment here is the HC system. So we are using 44 PPNs. Not all the not all the cores are being used here because some of them are reserved for the VM activities. So if you take a look, again, this is the broadcast, this is gather, this is reduce and scatter. And again, the y-axis is log scale. So here we are able to deliver, especially for large messages, bcast, we are able to deliver almost 2.1x performance better. Gather, starting from medium message sizes, we get very big performance boost, 21x better. Reduce around 26x. Similarly, scatter around 2.3x. So then we did some application level evaluations. So in this case, it is the Radix. Here, if you see, this is on the HC, and here it's on the HB. As the system size increases, here we are able to go up to like 8 nodes with 44 ppn each, so 352 processes. So we are able to deliver, as you can see the red line, we are able to systematically reduce the execution time, whereas the HPCX, as you can see, it reduces, but then after that, it doesn't deliver very good performance. In fact, the execution time increases. That is not good. And this is for the HB system. So here again, like up to 4 nodes with 60 ppn each, 240 processes, we are able to deliver around like a 38% better performance compared to HPC. So then recently, Azure has also introduced HB2. So this is the AMD platforms with the 7V12 CPUs. So these have like 128 cores per node. So here we have like two of our latest versions, MFP2 234 and the MFP2X 233 RC3. So I'll try to show some numbers. So this is the basic MFP2. So here you can see like on the latest AMD Rome platform on the Azure, we are able to deliver 1.5 microsecond, which is very close to again what you can get in the bare metal deployment, and the performance remains again similar with large messages. And bandwidth wise, both for small, medium, and large messages, we are coming very close to the EDR speed, which is like a 25,000 megabytes per second. So effectively, so as you can see from these numbers, we are able to really deliver high performance computing on the cloud platform. And this is on the HB2 instances with the MHAPIS-2X version. That is the 23RC3. The performance is very similar. This is internode. For intranode, we have a lot more optimizations. Due to lack of time, I'm not showing these numbers, but I'll be happy to discuss those, or you can also get similar kind of numbers yourselves. So what we have done recently, earlier we had like Azure, like AWS, we had a one-click deployment from our MHAPIS-2 site, so that people, if you have an AWS Azure account, you can just click and then it will take you to the appropriate instances. But now we have worked with Azure people. We have gone to the next step. So now the Azure, we have integrated Azure CentOS HPC images. So we released this actually just 3 weeks back, last month. So we have both for the MHAPIS-2 233 and MHAPIS-2X 23RC3. The standard CentOS images are there for 7.6, 7.7, and 8.1. So you don't have to download anything. If you just log on to your Azure account and then directly go to these sites, and you will see that you should be able to utilize our images. So there was also a blog post from Microsoft Azure, so please feel free to take a look. And this has all the details on how you can try to utilize the MHAPIS-2 library on the Azure environment. So with this, as we are moving ahead, I would like to conclude here, as gradually people are moving HPC workload to the cloud environments. From the MHAPIS-2 library perspective, we want to provide a seamless environment for the end users, so that for their applications, they can run it on TAC Frontera or HDSC or any other supercomputer center. But at the same time, they should be able to take their code using our MHAPIS-2 library to the AWS and Azure and try to run it. You may need to rebuild it because these images are a little bit different. Our next level, we are trying to see how that problem can be alleviated, but that is the current state of the art. When people move from machine to machine, because each machine has different kind of environment, you may need to rebuild. So on the AWS EFA, as I indicated, MHAPIS-2X is already available. This supports, it includes support for both SRD and XPMAP. In fact, last week, some of you, if you are in our mailing list, you would have seen we made a GA release of the MHAPIS-2X 233. And so currently we are testing this with the deployment, and we are also working with the AWS team to actually integrate that to their cluster environment, the parallel cluster environment. So just like what we have done with Azure, you don't have to download from our site. It will be automatically be available for you on the AWS environment. And on the Azure, again, so currently these are the images which are available, and we are working with the Azure team. So they are working on taking our latest version, the MHAPIS-2 234, which we released 2 weeks back, and MHAPIS-2X 233. So they will also prepare the similar kind of images, CentOS images, and they will be available in might be the next month. That's the estimate I'm getting. And as we integrate our solutions to both the AWS and Azure, we'll also make them available through the respective marketplaces, so that all the different end users, ISVs, they should be able to directly utilize these for their applications. So in this context, I would also like to indicate one more thing. As I indicated earlier, like MHAPIS-2 library has been there. We have been supporting from our project site all the end users for last 19 years. But since last 2 years, in fact 3 years, we have a new development for providing commercial support. So some commercial support is available to end users, ISVs, organizations. So this is through a commercial spin-off called Xscape Solutions. So currently we are working with actually several large organizations like Lawrence Livermore National Lab, KISTI, Korea, to provide commercial support. And we are trying to expand also providing this similar kind of support to the cloud environment. So if any one of you, your ISVs or end users, if you would like to avail these facilities, please visit this website, and you will be a lot of details are provided there, how to contact us and how we can extend help to you in a commercial manner. So with this, let me conclude my talk here. So if you have any questions, if there are any questions on the chat window, I'll be very happy to answer now. Or otherwise, this is my email, and these are my team members who have been working on this project. And these are our MHAP pitch. And I also talked about the high performance deep learning a few days back. So our next goal is also to move our MHAP pitch to GDR, kind of, which is the GPU Direct RDMA for deep learning, to both these kind of cloud environment, so that you can also try to utilize our stacks for your deep learning applications. So with this, I'd like to say thank you, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Thank you. Any questions? So far, I have not received anything online, but let's give a minute and see if anything comes in. Any questions?